here at the Tyngsborough High School PDC. My name is Anthony Cinderella. I call this meeting to order. We will start with introductions to my left.
Jeff Bowe.
Becky Stanton.
Mike Woodlock, Assistant Superintendent.
Hi, Mike Flanagan, Superintendent.
Ryan McMahon.
Dustine Puma.
Good evening, Joe Messina, Business Administrator.
You all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Welcome back. Happy New Year. Hope you all had a great Christmas and wonderful holidays. At this time, I will seek a motion to approve the December 12th, 2023 school committee minutes.
Make that motion.
Second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Abstain.
Abstain? One abstain? For Sharon at home. Citizens' time? Seeing none. Correspondence? We have none at this time. Personnel?
Mr. Chair, we have two new hires that we welcome to the district. One started today. Her name is Jenna Shields. She'll be teaching sixth grade. She'll be part of that enrichment rotation. And we are pleased to say that we hired a new psychologist for Tyngsborough Elementary School, Michaela Merksimer, who'll be joining us on January 23rd, I believe, Tuesday the 23rd. She starts with us from the Lincoln Public Schools. So we're excited about both those hires.
Excellent. Thank you. And welcome to both of you. Share the success. Bari, we actually sent home because of inclement weather, just to be on the safe side. So we'll skip that until our next meeting. Subcommittee Capital Asset.
We will talk about that during the regular meeting.
During regular, okay. Unfinished business. MSBA update. Dr. Flanagan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We'll jump into our slide deck and we'll just remind you about upcoming meetings we have. Tomorrow night, the Budget Subcommittee meeting gets to come back and do this again with Mr. Messina. And I believe Mr. Hogan will be joining this year as well at the Budget Subcommittee, correct?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. So that'll be the schedule for them coming forward. January 17th, we have a school building committee meeting. January 23rd, I don't need to read it to you, it's right there in front of you. One of the dates that's not on there and that we're tentatively looking at is January 27th, which is a Saturday morning, 9 a.m. We want to do a walkthrough of the Tyngsborough Middle School. So we ask everyone to wear appropriate shoe wear, and I'll send out an email with more detail. But right now, we're looking at January 27th to invite the school committee, the school building committee, and town administration to come and tour the current progress of the school at this point. So we'll go to the next slide. And this is important to understand because as we go forward, a lot of everything we're going to talk about is what's going on in Building A, Building B, or Building C. So just so we can get a sense of how the building is broken out, everything is being done in sections. It's not being done wholeheartedly at one time. So right now, a lot of the work is focusing, or early stages is Building A is further ahead, certainly, than Building B or Building C. And Building A is the part that faces us right here. Imagine Norris Road, the bus loop being the very bottom of that page. B is where the gym is and central office, and C is the back wing going out on the old, we used to call it Lambeau Field out there, or the Dust Bowl. So that's the schematic of the building, but most of the work right now is focusing in Building A and Building C. So we'll go to the next slide. There's some pictures from the second floor of A and C. It's exciting to see an actual floor that is poured. You can see the temporary lighting there. I don't know if you were able to see it tonight. It was pretty dark out there, but they did start to put up the studs and sheathing in Building A, and then they will tent that back up. So though we always see from the outside is pretty much a white tent, trust me that there's a lot of work being done on the inside, which is why it's important to kind of get boots on the ground on the 27th so people can actually see the work that's going on. So we'll go to the next slide. There's actually the stud work that was taking place last week, and now it's nice to see that there's actually some sheathing up over that as well on Building A. So the foundation support from A and B and most of C, fireproofing is primarily done. We're going to start to see framing and sheathing. And then as I talked to you earlier about, we're really excited to get to that walkthrough so you can all get in there and see it. We had the opportunity to go before break, Mr. Messina, Mr. Woodlock, and myself. And it's a cool thing to be in there and kind of really see it coming together. So I'm looking forward to the 27th for everyone to kind of experience that. So that's where we are at the MSBA update.
Awesome. Thank you. Teaching and learning, Mr. Woodlock.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Very briefly today, I just wanted to give folks an update that I had brought forward, a couple months ago now about a school-wide survey for students and staff to kind of bolster our data for our schools beyond just MCAS exams. So I was in communication with the Education Commonwealth Project late last week and then again today. And we're going to try and get the ball rolling for February on that. So I'm going to be meeting with school principals to try and see if there are some times that are feasible to get all of the students surveyed. Again, it's about a 30-minute survey. There's, again, a link on here where you can see the survey information. It is public, so anyone that wants to go on the Education Commonwealth Project and see what the questions are. Nothing controversial, I can promise you that, but everyone's welcome to take a look at them. The students will be made aware as well, like if they choose not to take the survey, that's fine, they won't have to, but we will make time available for them to do that. So we'll be working with them in the upcoming week to try and get that scheduled, as well as Mr. Coughlin, who's going to help with the transfer of data. As I mentioned before, Education Commonwealth Project is part of, it's a publicly funded group, so all of our state mandated reporting can be combined with that, so we get a really robust data set to try and identify if there are gaps that we need to focus on in our schools, and also identify our strengths for sure. Quickly, a teaching and learning update, what can be expected in the next couple of months, among other things. This month we have our principals and building administrators are kind of doing a formative check on the SDI and where they are, just checking progress, and so they'll share with us and we'll share with you. In February, I'll try and share with you some of the work that we've been doing with our Curriculum Instruction Committee, our teacher leadership within the district. In March, I'll need to bring forward to you our new Student Opportunity Plan. A few years back, you may not remember, but you did approve our current one, which is now ending. So I'm being tasked with working with, relevant folks in the district to create a new one, which will have to come before you for approval. So you have that to look forward to. And then hopefully by April, we may have some of that survey result that we could share with you. And then, looking at the rest of the year, obviously we're doing a formative check for SDI here in January. By May, we probably will be able to say, this is the significant progress that we've made and where we stand on that. So that's definitely not everything I'll be talking about, but just to give you a flavor for what to expect. Any questions from folks?
No. Thank you. Unit A negotiations.
Mr. Chair, just a quick update. It is that time of year again. As you know, I think it was probably about a month or two ago, the union reached out to begin open negotiations with us. So I did informally poll some of the members of our negotiating team. I worked with Kelly Gonzalez. We sent 7 potential dates to the union to see if that worked for their bargaining team as well as their MTA representative. Unfortunately, only 2 of the 7 dates worked. So those 2 dates are February 29th and March 28th. So we have 2 days on the calendar right now. I've actually requested that they reach out to their MTA person, who seems to be the hardest person to schedule. It's not necessarily a teacher's unit A issue. It's really getting their representative, I think, more than anything. If we could get several dates from that person, it would be easier for us to kind of backward design coordinate off of that. So we're waiting to get back on those dates, but the sessions will happen in this room from 6 to 8 p.m. on February 29th and March 28th for sure. And, we're working on our ground rules right now. Historically, we've agreed on ground rules prior to our first meeting. And it's nice to be able to work with the union to agree to that again and make sure that we're coming to our first 3 meetings with proposals and not wasting time talking about what the ground rules will look like. So that being said, our proposal will happen within the first 3 meetings. So I meet regularly with the president of the union, Jason Lewis, and the vice president, Heidi White, and we anticipate it to go very similar to how it's gone in the past. So that's all well and good. So stay tuned as I try to get more dates from them as we look forward.
But as of right now, February 29th is our first.
Those are hard dates, February 29th and March 28th. And again, our goal would be to negotiate the ground rules prior to that meeting. And we're actually pretty close to having a draft agreement in line. We're going to meet next Tuesday, the 23rd at 6:45 in the morning to iron out the final details. So that's where that is.
Are the people on the school committee the only ones who are are the people who are on the negotiating committee the only ones allowed to go to the meetings, or is it for all school committee members?
Is for the negotiating team
Yes.
on our side, as of right now, yes.
So just the people who
Yes.
are on the negotiating team?
Yes.
Okay.
That's where we are.
All right, thank you. Capital asset plan approval.
Mr. Messina, you want this one?
Sure.
You're on the agenda, so.
Thank you. So, in lieu of the capital asset meeting held tonight, actually bring it in front of the entire committee at this moment. This is the exact same plan that was teased out by the superintendent at your meeting in December 12th. Nothing has changed on it. The amounts put here have, based on current quotes with a slight upcharge, because anything that gets approved for this year would be at the town meeting in May for purchase or service in July. So realizing that, a quote today will never match up with a quote 6 or 7 months from now, we always put a small variance from the quote just to deal with any issues that might come up. 3 targeted for this year. The multifunction school activity bus that we have outside buried in the snow right now. Getting a second one of those would be ideal. Those things are great for any activities that are 14 or less. And what we found when meeting with the high school and Ms. Palumbo in terms of athletics is sometimes having one becomes troublesome for a team that's slightly larger. And we're spending, again, large money for both mileage and wait times on the buses, when if we had two coaches could take a team up to 28 to an event, certainly targeting those events like a wrestling meet that have a very large wait time.
Theater productions.
Yes, yes. And I mean, the wait times next year are scheduled to be for a big bus is $90 an hour for a wait time and $4.90 a mile. So,
And what's the average wait time on a wrestling match, Joe? Would you know that? Is there?
I mean, they start weigh-ins
How
at 8
big the
o'clock in the
invitation
morning.
is.
They could be done 8 o'clock at night. It could be 12 hours.
Same with the track meet.
swim
all
meets are
day
like
on a-
that, track meets are like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes
Cross-country meets.
we
are
have a
like that, too.
team.
It seems-
Yeah.
I mean, when I did the analysis back in fiscal year 19, when we first got our first van or bus, even something like golf had like 4 to 6 hour wait times.
Right.
There are many, I call it Bruce. I don't know why we call it Bruce, but it's called
I don't
Bruce.
think anyone knows why I call it
It's,
Bruce. We
it's
just
easier,
did.
it's easier than multifunction school activity bus because that's its official name. It basically paid for itself within 2 years. I mean, we paid $51,000 for that. The first 8 months that we had it, we saved $23,500 in comparison to using a big bus. So, they've gone up since we purchased it in 2018. I mean, the current estimate is about $93,000. So we put a little increase on that with, excuse me, with the idea as well that availability on these are very tight. A lot of times you're looking at, similar to other vehicles, large heavy-duty vehicles the town has tried to purchase, you're out 10, 11, 12 months before you can actually get one. So we added the multifunction bus as a year one priority. The chiller at the elementary school, previously, we had that in as a full replacement. Last year, I think we had $300,000. We had a gentleman who's a
Mechanical, electrical, plumbing expert
Thank
from
you.
left field.
MEP. I hate throwing out acronyms if
Yeah.
somebody's gonna ask me what it is to try to explain it. So left field came in, looked at it, and said to us, if you can do this repair, it's gonna add probably another 10 years onto that chiller. So the repair itself would be estimated at about $61,000 in lieu of a $500,000 replacement.
And I'd also like to thank Left Field there. They did that as a courtesy for being part of our middle school project. They did the consulting on their own, and they brought one of their specialists at no cost to the district, so thank you to them for that.
Thank you.
The last item for a year one priority is the elevator at the elementary school. Again, it's an elevator that's 20-something years old, so it continues to have some failures in the control panel and some other operating items. Our elevator company, Buckley Elevator, has gone in, analyzed it, and for a modernization at next year's prices, we're looking at about $117,000 to keep that operational. That is year one of the plan. I don't know if it's the will of the committee to look at years 2 and 3 as well. Primarily, we focus on the year one and just try to give town leaders an estimate as to what may also be coming down the pike in the next 5 years. It seems like at the town level, they're focused mainly on year one.
Yeah.
I think the chair and Mr. McMahon would agree. It seems like we're always talking about year one at these capital asset
Yes.
meetings without too much focus on years 2 through 5. But we have some technology needs. Mr. Piper is seeing that we'll need some replacements to be done over years 2 and 3 of this plan. And the bleachers here in the high school continue to have some mechanical issues in terms of opening it. And again, they are not compliant bleachers. There's certainly some safety concerns there. So we would like to continue to keep that on everybody's radar in terms of the need to look at those.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Messina.
And there's a new middle school being built next door.
Yes. So at this time, I'll seek a motion to approve the capital asset plan as written.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? That carries 5-0. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Messina, for putting that all together.
You're welcome.
Dr. Flanagan. Right back to you, Mr. Messina, Finance.
Right back to me, thank you. For signing of bills, there were 13 bill warrants presented to the committee tonight. I do have them all back signed. As always, in your drive is the list of warrant numbers, accounts, and amounts. Also in your drive, Mr. Mullen, as your single signer, did come into the office and sign bills on December 20th. So those warrant numbers, accounts, and amounts are in there. For signing of payroll, 2 payrolls since we last reviewed them. The payroll of December 18th and January 1st. And as always, the payroll date, warrant numbers, and amounts are in your drive. Also for the financial package, the 3 reports that constitute that package, your budget at the end of December, the revolving account balances at the end of December, as well as the student activity accounts at the end of December are in your drive, and enrollment as of January 1st, I can leave that to the chair.
Tyngsborough Elementary School, 753. Middle School, 372. High School, 422. Out of District, 23. For a grand total of 1,570 students. Thank you, Mr. Messina.
You're welcome.
Other, informational only?
Nothing
else? School committee discussion.
All
Yeah.
set, thank you.
Becca?
Just a thank you to Left Field for looking at the elementary school. They're a great partner. We're lucky to have them as our partner.
Thank you.
Nothing, thank you.
Nothing?
I'm all set, thank you.
All set.
I have 3 quick things. One, January 23rd, we'll be doing yearbook photos before the meeting, so plan accordingly.
Fluff and buff.
The second notification is I'll be sending an email to the entire committee. I know some members have expressed interest in doing tours of the schools and kind of doing that yearly walk around as we think about the budget. So I'll send out a couple dates. I'll coordinate with the principals and send out a couple dates. Please let me know if anything works for you to be able to tour the schools if you so desire.
Can we do that around 2:30?
I
Can we do it in the later
Look at
afternoon?
later afternoon one, yep. Well, they won't be in session on this campus, but we
I'm
can get to
aware.
the elementary.
Yeah.
And then the third thing will be, your next school committee meeting, I believe members of the middle school, high school theater program will be here to present. So that'll be interesting and exciting. And that's all I have.
And I'm all set, other than be careful driving home this evening. We do not have a need for executive session. Therefore, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you and have a good night.